Hari Om. We are starting the new chapter, but before that we will start prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are starting the new series and we plan to take this time Ashtavakra Gita, also called Ashtavakra Samhita. It's one of the beautiful texts of Vedanta and very highly contemplative text, and unlike the other texts like Upanishads and the Brahma Sutra Bhashyas or the Gita, here it directly goes into the topic, and this is very meditative text and tells right away what is the truth. So it is meant for, obviously, to those minds who are already prepared by studying Gita and Upanishads, and also through meditation and through Karma Yoga have purified the mind. So it's a direct teaching of Ashtavakra to Janaka, and we will go through this text deeply, but this is a contemplative text, and as you hear the talks, you have to contemplate and see the reality that is being pointed out by the teacher. So here Ashtavakra is the teacher, and as we study, we have to meditate on it and keep the mind direct in the direction that's being pointed out. We'll go into more details of how to do that. And just as a background of the Ashtavakra Gita, Ashtavakra is the teacher here and Janaka is the student. And we heard the Janaka is a student also in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In some of the chapters, it is the Yajnavalkya was the teacher and Janaka Maharaj is was the student at that time. Here the Ashtavakra is the teacher and Janaka who is an evolved soul, and therefore the discussion between Ashtavakra and Janaka is of the highest order also. And who is this Ashtavakra? There is a story in Mahabharata, and it says in that he is a son of the Sujata. His mother's name is Sujata, and the father's name is Kahor. Kahor is the father, and when the baby was in the womb of his mother, and Kahor was chanting the Vedas, and while in the mother's womb he learned all the Vedas directly. This is what we hear also in the Prahalada story, where Narada was teaching Prahalada's mother, and it was the Prahalada that was listening in the stomach in the womb of his mother. In the same way here, the Ashtavakra was listening to the chanting of the Vedas, so he learned all the Vedas even before he was born. And one day, when Kahor was chanting, the baby in the womb felt that the father was not chanting properly, and he could not tolerate it, so he shouted, "Oh father, you are chanting the Vedas wrongly." And that was you can see the maturity of the baby at that time. But Kahor's father was very angry because he pointed the unborn baby is trying to find a fault with the father. So he cursed the baby, and because of that curse, the Ashtavakra is born with eightfold curvature. That means he was not straight baby, and that called Ashtavakram. Vakram is the bend, and eightfold bend of the baby. And the story goes that the Kahor was in the poverty, and perhaps at the insistence of Sujata, that is his wife, he went to get some favors from the Janaka Maharaj, who was the emperor there. So Kahor traveled all the way, and in the Janaka Maharaj, when he asked for alms, he says, "What are you?" And he said, "I am a scholar of Vedanta." So there is a Pandit there by name Vandin, and he was the main guru of Janaka. So he challenged the Kahor, and the challenge at that time is whoever is defeated has to serve him. And therefore, in the process of the challenge that we hear also in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a Yajnavalkya was challenged by so many people, and he says he defeats everybody, and he takes the cows, and then later he teaches also. And here is the same problem where Kahor, instead of winning, he got defeated by the Vandin, and therefore he ended up serving Vandin or whatever the jobs he was giving. So he got stuck in that place. Meanwhile, the boy here, Ashtavakra, was growing, and he became 12 years old, and some of his peers or students were making fun of him that his father is not there. So he went and asked, "Where is my father?" So the Sujata, the mother, told him that he went to Janaka Maharaj and he didn't come back. So Ashtavakra went in search of his father and to go to Janaka Maharaj, and because he was a boy, he was not allowed. Somehow he was convinced that he is a scholar and has to be allowed to meet the king. So when he went to the king and mentioned that I am a scholar, the Vandin was there. He says, "First you have to challenge me." So in the challenge between the Ashtavakra and Vandin, Ashtavakra wins over the Vandin and gets release of his father, and the father, because of he was pleased by which, because Ashtavakra able to get his freedom, so he took Ashtavakra to a river and asked him to take a bath, and once he took a bath and he chanted, so he got back, and so he became straight. That means the curse that was imposed was released, and therefore Ashtavakra is become a name wise, he may have still Ashtavakra, but he has become a correct person, or his bends are gone. And when he went to Janaka Maharaj, and the conversation or the discussion between the Janaka and Ashtavakra is the theme of this Ashtavakra Gita. So Janaka is a student and Ashtavakra is a teacher. So Janaka Maharaj is an emperor, and at the same time he comes with a reverential attitude to his teacher to ask the question. So the first chapter starts with the conversation between the Janaka and Ashtavakra, and this is how the discussion is. And Janaka himself is a very evolved soul, so the type of question that he is going to ask is directly related to the topic of the self-realization. So this chapter 1, where Janaka starts questioning, and we are introduced between the teacher and the taught, and also Janaka with the humility asks the question. So in the very first chapter itself, we were given an indication of the qualification of the teacher and the qualification of the student, and also the type of question that one is to ask. So all that are implied in the very questioning itself. First we will read the question and then we go into more details. Janaka uvacha katham jnanamavapnoti katham jnanamavapnoti katham muktir bhavishyati katham muktir bhavishyati vairagyam cha katham praptam vairagyam cha katham praptam tadbruhi mama prabho tadbruhi mama prabho. Together. Janaka uvacha katham jnanamavapnoti katham muktir bhavishyati vairagyam cha katham praptam tadbruhi mama prabho. So here the student is asking the question, and the way he asked the question is also implied, and that tells you how one should approach a teacher and how one should ask the question also. So Krishna says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadesyanti te jnanam jnanena, and the Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. So Krishna himself says that one has to approach with a humility. Pranipate, almost like a sashtangam, will flat on the floor. That means completely with the mind which is ready to receive. A humble mind is only one that can learn. So, sir, please teach me, let me see what you know. If you ask like that, then says he is not going to teach properly, or he is not going to, unless you is an obligation to teach, and the teaching will not be, the lessons will not be received by the student, because student does not have appropriate mind to receive. So therefore, it is emphasized in the Vedanta that a student has to approach a teacher tadvidhi pranipatena, with the humility, pariprasnena sevaya, also by sevaya, by serving the teacher, and when the teacher allows you to ask, you have to ask. So this is also said in the Mundakopanishad, Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmano nirveda mayannascha krutakrutena tad vijnanartam sagurum eva abhigached samit banihi sotriyam brahmanishtam. So there the qualification of the teacher and the qualification of the student are both specified by the Mundakopanishad. And in the Mundakopanishad it says, you go and approach, don't come to me directly, because don't try to study the scriptures directly, because you will be thoroughly confused, because the scriptures are in a rakshartha. It's not a direct meaning, it's a meaning where you have to point out in the direction that one has to contemplate on. You cannot say this is Brahman, because Brahman is not an object. So it's not an objective science for a teacher to show this is the type of the nature of the reality. Whereas all other objective sciences, where you can go and learn perhaps by studying in the library or with somebody also. But here the teacher and the student relationship are specified. So it says Parichalokan karmachitan brahmano. Brahmana here means the one who is a seeker. After examining that whole life that he is spending trying to get happiness, he is not able to get it. So pariksha means after examining, lokan karmachitan, by any action I don't get what I want, because everybody has to do some action in order to get what they want. But what I want is not temporary happiness. I am looking for absolute and infinite happiness, and karma being a finite, you cannot get infinite happiness by a finite action. So the result of finite action is only finite. So I can get only a temporary happiness through any action, and every time we act and we get some result, we may be happy temporarily, but because it's not permanent and eternal, again I am back to the base one, where I am longing for, or wanting for, or the mind that is wanting will remain again. So after examining that Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayan nascha krutakrutena, by performing an action I can never get that which cannot be obtained by any finite action. once I recognize that, so to recognize itself, it takes many lives for me to recognize that this is not the way to go. Okay, everybody is going after happiness. So every time we say, I want this, I want this, I want this, and we try to get what we want because we think that with that we are going to be happy, without that we are not happy, so we have to make an effort to get it, and once we get it, we found that we may be temporarily happy, but mind is still remain as inadequate, it's not full, therefore it's temporarily full until it finds another desire that it needs something for the mind to be happy. So it goes on and on and on and continuously, life after life after life. And therefore, once I stand apart and look at my life, says, what is the meaning of this life? So that kind of questioning will come only for few people who want to inquire, is there a purpose beyond? Because I wanted to achieve this, I achieved this, still I am unhappy. I say, oh, I am a successful person, but that but comes because I am still longing for something more for me to be happy. I need this, I need this, I need this. So this desire for it never ends. So once I examine that this is not the way to get what I want, because what I want is happiness, and everybody wants happiness, whether you are a religious person or not, whether you are a Hindu or you are a Muslim or you are a Christian or any other religion or even Gnostic. Everybody is looking for a happiness only. So that doesn't change. So he may be thinking that that way he is going to be happy. So Nastika thinks by doing that he may be happy. And Astika thinks that God will give him happiness. So everyone is looking for absolute, uninterrupted, inexhaustible happiness. Then only, that means he is full, he is contented by that. That means there is no more longing mind, wanting mind, and desiring mind will not be there. So as long as I feel I am incomplete, as long as I feel that I am not full, I want it more and more and more. So once I understand that to fill it up, I'm going in the wrong way, I'm trying to get happiness where it's not there, there's no absolute happiness in anywhere. And once I understood that, so I need to turn. So what should I do in order to get absolute? Because I cannot stop looking for happiness and I won't get what I want. So what is the solution there? So therefore, scripture says, if you are in that state of inquiry, go and tadviddi pranipatena pariprasnena, or scripture says tad vijnanartham sa gurum eva abhigachet. Eva means you have to approach a teacher alone. And what kind of teacher? If the teacher is also unhappy and looking for, then how is he going to teach me? So the teacher has to be sotriyam brahmanishtam. So he should know the Shastra. That's one aspect of it. And he should be a wise man. That means he has realized that he is complete by himself. That is Brahmanishtam. Brahma means that infiniteness, that is fullness, is that he is fully established that I am full. And that means I am absolutely happy. And therefore, he has no more longing mind, no more wanting mind, no more desiring mind, no more even inquiring mind also, because he is already full. So Krishna calls him as Sthita Prajnaha. Prajna means Atmani eva Atmana Tushtaha. The one who is fulfilled by himself, by his own self. So Atmani eva, in himself he is happy because the self that he is already full. Therefore, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan. So he has no more desires in his mind, I want this to be happy, because he is happy with himself as himself, because the self that he is already full, complete. So having that is called Sthita Prajnaha. So he is a realized soul, and that what is Brahmanishta. So approach a one who is Brahmanishta, and he is also Sotriya. Sotriya means he himself learned the scriptures from his teacher. So therefore he has attained this state by listening to or approaching a teacher in the same way as you are approaching him. So he remembered that. Therefore he feels that he is obligated to teach or pass on that knowledge that his teacher gave him freely and without any reservation. So that's called Acharya Runa. So says, when I approach a teacher with that attitude, the teacher has to teach because he has an obligation to his teacher to pass on that knowledge. That's what is called Guru Sishya Parampara. And that is the tradition of our Vedanta. So all the way, the first teacher is the Lord himself, and that's what Krishna says, I taught this, so on and so on and so forth. In the 4th chapter, he tells that I already taught this before, and now out of compassion, I am going to teach you because you have asked with complete surrendering. This is the Sishyastvoham Swadhimam Tam Prapannam. I am your disciple. Until Arjuna claimed that I am your disciple, Krishna didn't open his mouth or didn't started teaching. Only after Arjuna surrendered with the attitude of humility, says Karpanya doshona hata swabhavaha pruchami tvam dharma samudha chetaha. So yasreyascha nischitam bruhitam ve sishyastvoham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So I am approaching you because I don't know what to do. I am completely confused. But he says Karpanya doshopa hata swabhava. Because of that, I don't know what is right and what is wrong, what is dharma and what is adharma, what is the right thing and what's wrong thing. My mind is completely confused. Therefore, I am surrendering to you. I am prapannaha, means completely surrendering. And that which is yasreyascha nischitam bruhitam ve. Please teach me that which is of shreyas, not prayas. In the Kathopanishad, there is a shreyas and prayas, and there are two paths for a human being. One to go along the prayas, and another going to shreyas. Shreyas is that which is beneficial in the long run, whereas the prayas is only temporarily satisfying. That means, like sense enjoyment, I give happiness, and temporarily until I become cocooned with that, I get more desires and more problems in that. And that's a path of prayers, and only those who are foolish enough will go that path, and only the one who is intelligent enough, one who knows and who has a discriminative intellect and analyze the system that by doing this path of prayers, I am not going to get eternal, unending happiness. He alone is what is called the one who is longing for shreyas. So Arjuna starts with that request. Yes, shreyascha nischitam bruhitam ve. That which is definitely shreyas. You decide what is that which is shreyas to me. Therefore, after surrendering, Krishna gives the highest philosophy in the 2nd chapter itself. Says you are crying where there is no reason for you to cry. Says that because Panditaha anusodna anusochanti, the wise people do not cry for these small things, because you are clouded with the attachments, and therefore you are clouded, and your mind is attached to what? Attached to people and attached to things. Arjuna was attached to that his grandsire and his teacher. How am I going to kill them? They are in the enemy land. They are in the opposite, and they are on the adharmic side. And he knows that they are in the adharmic side. So you have to get rid of them before you can establish a dharma. It's not the question of a friend or a foe. It is the question of dharma. So that's how the Mahabharata starts. Says dharma kshetre kurukshetre, and that ends whole Gita with the Srutir Mama. So Mama is the last word and the Dharma is the first word. So what is Mama means my Dharmam. What is my Dharmam is the whole Gita is taught to find out what is my Dharma. So what is my Dharmam here? Says Janaka wants to know, say, what is the state of that realization, and therefore it tells the nature of the teacher and the nature of the student. He doesn't want to ask anybody else, and he is sure that Ashtavakra knows, therefore he is a Brahmanishta. So how do I know my teacher is Brahmanishta? You can never know that your teacher is Brahmanishta. Only if I am Brahmanishta, I can evaluate somebody. No other person can evaluate if somebody X, Y, or Z is really Brahmanishta or not. But here the scripture says, you approach a teacher who is Brahmanishta. Then how do I know that my teacher is Brahmanishta or not? It says that you have to accept that the teacher who is going to teach you, based on the teaching, that he is indeed established in Dharma. Whether the teacher established or not, by assuming the student he is established, he develops a faith in the teaching itself. Thus, he is a Sotriyaha, because he knows how to teach and he has studied the scriptures. Whether he is Brahmanishta or not, I cannot evaluate, but I can know that he has studied scriptures or not once you open his mouth. So what this creature teaches is only what this Astra says. He doesn't say, hey, believe me whatever I say because I am Brahmanishta. We don't listen to that. He may be Brahmanishta, he may be realized master. Unless he is a Sotriya, we don't accept that as a teacher. We respect him and respect him, but we don't learn from that because he doesn't know how to teach me who is longing for the knowledge. So I have all sorts of doubts, and depending that he should be able to clarify or come down to my level and explain to me in a way that I can understand it. So that what is essentially implied in terms of the Sotriya. So not only is a Brahmanishta, he must have studied the scriptures or listened to the scriptures for a prolonged length of time under a competent teacher. Who is a competent teacher? A competent teacher is the one who has listened to the scriptures under another competent teacher and all the way up to the Lord himself. So that's what essentially implied in that Brahmanishta. Therefore Guru Parampara is implied, and also there is a Sampradaya teaching. That means what he is teaching is based on what he learned from the teacher. So that is also implied as called Sampradayam, a methodology of teaching that which cannot be taught. So why? Because that is Brahman, cannot be taught by any way, but here the teacher has to use the words to uplift the mind in the direction, and that's what in fact is what Ashtavakra is going to do. So we'll go into more details after we come back in the next talk. With this we stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Acha.